Shalom Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua Ba'ashim Kakadash. The bar to the apostles and Nels Great Millstone, 4 teachers its truth, peace, and blessings. Just hope like Rizzo. Yahweh is the name of the unfriendly Hebrew. Ba'ashim is the name. Yahweh Shai is the name of the begotten Son. Back in our lesson, as he put in the title, robots soon to take the streets. And one of the main points is really going to this great wrath that this devil's preparing to come down with. Especially in these last days, this devil has been pulling out all the stops. As you know, in Jeremiah 37, further going to that time of great trouble. And it especially goes into who that main target is, which is Israel, the 12 tribes, the Israelites. But came across this post right here, thought I'd make a lesson, going into it. And it says, months after a Miami hotel was exposed for having Indian workers remotely handle front desk check-ins, an Atlanta-based security firm has now been caught relying on overseas Indian staff to operate security robot dogs. And that's the main portion I want to go into, is these security robot dogs. Because we've even had a while back in Shanghai, China, dealing with these lockdowns that were in place, and they pretty much had robot dogs patrolling the streets to make sure people weren't breaking curfew. So this is just another example of what's to come. As you know, in Isaiah 10:1, go to these unrighteous decrees and just the various things the devil's getting ready to do. Soon checkpoints will most definitely be held, and robot dogs, robots in general, just patrolling the street. People look at us and call us crazy for saying these things, but these are the things that this devil does have. Those this is an Indian operating, the robot, doesn't take away from the fact that you are seeing, in this example right here, robot dog patrolling the streets. And you already see the direction that they're now heading into, as you now have pretty much little robot cars delivering goods, food and all that type of stuff. Because you'll come across videos of people, will see these robots just driving on the sidewalk, flipped over, or the case may be. But I'm gonna play this real quick, get a couple scriptures. It's gonna be too big of a lesson, but what's in the main point, really going to this great wrath that the devil's preparing to come down with. Because this is a small example of what this devil is going to unleash in these last days. Because his time is ticking, his times are running out, and he's gonna be pulling out all the stops. But play it real quick. And also another point, it's like kind of rambling, but is exactly why that spiritual power is going to be needed. The Lord's not going to bestow spiritual power upon his elect for no reason. Look at the things that this devil has, things he has behind the scenes. Iron Man like suits of armor, these exoskeleton suits is able to lift an immense amount of weight. I see this little example right here done with this robot dog. You also have robots that are at these shooting ranges having pretty much near perfect accuracy. You also now have helmets that are pretty much able to see through walls. So just various examples of what this devil has and what he's preparing to use coming to these last days. Divine intervention will be needed, and the Lord is going to step in. But play it quick, and we'll get these scriptures.
I'm just patrolling the area. Came from the 235 Mitchell Alley.
Okay. Well, you have a good one.
Have a great night, officer.
You too. Wow.
Alright, there you go. But now let's get into these scriptures. This is Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. And it says, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil is coming unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So he knows his time is ticking. And this is why you especially see him rushing to implement his plans and put them into action as fast as possible. And this is why you especially now have this devil getting exposed for his works, getting caught red-handed. This devil is being revealed. And very soon he's going to begin to, show his true colors. He's going to show his horns and why he's called the devil. Speaking of Esau, Edom. Which is, the so-called white man today. Now, further add to these points, Isaiah 59:19, so shall feel the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun, when the enemy shall come in like a flood. So you're going to have this devil come on as that flood, as we read in the previous scripture, going to this great wrath they're preparing to come down with. And I always like to use the example of this movie called Code 8. Actually a really good movie, but one of the main points in the movie was they slightly speak too fast. They created robots in order to combat and go against these people that had spiritual power. Get an image on that. And Lord's while I'm making a lesson, going into it. In this movie, they were, operating, controlling these robots, used them to, kick down doors, And these were the robots I'm talking about. And you don't think that devil has something like this? They'll showcase, these robots that, particular events, not, this exact robot, but they'll hold, events showcasing, advancements that they've made, those, technology and your robots and all this type of stuff. But that's just a little sliver, a little taste of what they got. They'll show you within movies and cartoons of, their plans and things that they really got. And they also had, these big, trying to get out of that picture, there we go. These, somewhat, drones. I mean, this phone is tripping. There we go. But these are the drones I'm talking about right here. And this phone is buggy, Slovakia. But which I definitely do recommend watching this. And they also had robot dogs. I forgot about that. And in this movie, they're able to pretty much scan the person down to see if this is who they're looking for. And you could further use this, especially once this MOTB comes into play, to where it can detect who has and who doesn't. These are times we're coming into, man. But in Luke 10:19, it says, "Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you." And just going back to that video we played, that's to say a little example of what this devil got. And you best believe they have much more advanced things behind the scenes that they're not showing you. But once it comes to the last days, they're going to be pulling out all the stops. But we're going to talk one more time. "Behold, I give to you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you." And the Lord is going to defend and protect his elect in the midst of all this chaos, in the midst of this great trouble. Especially, as we just also read, which is another point, which I didn't get, going to the stand the Lord can lift against our enemy. And going to the spiritual power the Lord can bestow upon his elect. We hope and pray that we're part of the Lord's will. Of course, that power will be needed. And of course, the Lord is performing these great miracles, doing great things. But the Lord is also going to defend and protect his elect through that power. In Isaiah 54:17, get the King James. And it says, "No weapon that's formed against thee shall prosper." So none this devil has will work. When this devil think he has true power now, the Lord's going to show you true power in that day. Once that switch is flipped in the Lord's elect, the tables will be completely turned. And you can see various movies, examples of spiritual power done with super speed, super strength, Superman being another great example, which, his name Kal-El, in the Hebrew, I believe goes into, all powerful. Where do you think they got that from? Now it says, no weapon that's formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the Lord, and the rest is of me, saith Yahweh Bashmal Shai. So just going to that point. None this devil is going to work against the Lord's elect, especially, the angels. You also have the devil, create a space force and trying to create various things in order to try to defend against this attack that's coming. Because you also in Revelations 12 and 7 through 8, goes into a war in heaven, getting ready to take place. We're just going to the sky, space. And there's Psalm 17:13. It says, "Right, the Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked." And of course, it goes black screen. It's deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. And who is that wicked speaker? Malachi 1:4. Esau, Edom, being called the border of wickedness. And also, what's Esau, Edom's blessing? Genesis 27:39-40, going to the fatness of the earth and the sword. So it says, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. So showing you who this is speaking of right here. And the Lord is going to be using this devil as that sword, especially swinging them upon you wicked Israelites, man, you wicked Jakes, that don't want to repent, that don't want to seek the Lord. Great trouble is especially coming your way. 2nd Ezra 15-17, further, going back to the point of what we're going into, which we're going back to that title, robots, soon to take the streets. This is what you're getting ready to see, so don't be surprised when you now see robots, being used to patrol streets, neighborhoods, which I believe even, I'm going to say a little over 2 years ago, an article came out where you had the police begin giving authorization to use killer robots. And they had to come out and do damage control, saying it's only will be used in dire situations, whatever the case was. But 2nd Ezra 15:17, one more time, man shall desire to go into the city and shall not be able on these lockdowns, these curfews, these checkpoints that will be held, and which especially can be needed to bypass and go through various things. You need to have that Karagma, that OTB. And we have been warning you to pray how much try to stay far away from it. In order to put our faith, our trust in Yahweh Bashmal Shah. But 2 Timothy 3:1, it says this, no, also in the last days, perilous times shall come. So troublesome times are fastly approaching. And you're going to see this devil begin to ramp things up. As you've been seeing now already. Because I believe you now had a while back, I think the articles coming out of a lot of police or leaving their jobs, or the case was. So what do you think is going to fill those positions, especially within the military? And you don't have a lot of people signing up now. What do you think they're going to use to fill those positions, those roles? That will follow orders to the T. You can program them to, seek and find whoever. Also at one point you had Elon Musk speaking about these, I want to say, killer drones, and he was asked if are they able to create these things, and he jumped at the question. From saying they'd already done it. And he said you could take the face ID scanner off the iPhone, slap it onto a drone to be able to track and scan if there's a person looking for it, as the case was. So we're nearing a chaotic time, and really we're in it now. But these things are just going to snowball. It's only going to pick up. But what was made, came across that video, thought it'd be something to dive into, because these are things that you're most definitely going to see. People wanted to mock, people wanted to scoff, call us crazy, all sorts of things. Well, you're going to soon come to know the prophets have been among you, that you've been warned. So that's the point. I do close out. Give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh Bashmal Shabbat Shalom. See you next one, the Lord's will.